And we're back. And it's finally time for us to become Elden Lord. Alright, so last time, after finishing up the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC by beating the final boss there, we are, right at the throne, Elden throne, and all the way ahead with the burned Erdtree. Our pathway is open to get to the end. We're just like diving right into it. This could be probably a short episode, but it's the finale because all we got left is some bosses. So we're just gonna get right into it. And we've done our stuff. We have a couple of things to get multiple endings. We've beaten, I think, every major boss, and I think all of them that give us remembrances, except for the final ones. There's loads of, like, ruins and catacombs and small stuff I missed and sub-bosses that, like, yeah, we could go out of the way to do. I still haven't found, like, most great runes, but we're kind of, like, at the end. We've beaten also the major bosses of the DLC, and so now it's just for us to head in. And I feel pretty confident because compared to my first profile, I am nearly 50 levels stronger, which negligible, but still could mean something. So, let's end this. And there she is, Queen Marika. The last god chosen by the Golden Order. Adjusting my mic a little bit. And here he's arrived. Radagon the Red. Alright, let's just test the waters here. Because Radagon is a toughie. Radagon of the Golden Order, the other half of Marika. Whoop. Forgot about the explosion. Okay, death probably. No! Okay. Just testing him out because, yeah. Ice goes level 50 levels higher, but I am still missing some, or, it's still going to be a fight. But we'll give it another shot. Like, we'll give it a couple. It's just finding the right moments. Because I was thinking, like, okay, we can get Scarlet Aeone off, see if, I mean, in comparison, even though he is pretty dense, I suppose, in comparison, because, we no longer have the, stat bonuses from, sorry, from the, the Shadow Tree. That is completely separate and bound to that, the Shadow Realm, or whatever. Alright, it's set in. Doing like 60 a crack. See if we can get Destined Death off. Oh, right, I didn't reach. Dropping like Thor. And I completely forgot to regenerate my, you know, get some Crimson Flask, or Cerulean Flask. Otherwise, I think... Ooh. Just pulling energy from the rune arc. Shoot. God damn it. You're doing okay. I'm just trying to be somewhat careful. Shoot. Sorry, I'm not playing the smartest. Whoops. God damn it. I could have survived that. Okay. Sorry, I was playing it, just like not finding the right opening, and it just sort of like, if only I had Cerulean. That wasn't bad solo. I mean, in comparison, he is not nearly. He hits hard, but he's not nearly as fast and wild as like Radahn. I didn't find Radagon is one of the tougher bosses in the game, but I didn't find him as difficult as like some other things, like I think one's really all we're gonna need for reasons. Okay, like Radagon's a tough fight, but I found him more manageable than some. Whoop, get down. More manageable than come on, get down. Sorry, I got a cat like bumping the keyboard. And it's like, don't you dare pause at the penultimate moment. Sorry, what was I saying? I lost track. Whatever. Should have cracked a rune arc before I went in there. Oh, I forgot to even equip the flasks. Shoot. Too early. I'm dodging too early. Sorry, I'm dodging frantically like I'm fighting Radahn. Shoot. Gotcha. Okay, cool. We can equip that just fast enough. Okay. Sorry, Radagon is a pretty tough fight. Like, he puts up a fight. He hits really hard. He has a wide radius. And, you know, the teleporting around when he gets weaker, it's pretty cool. Like, he is a good fight. But it's not over yet. Cat sneezing right at the pen. Okay. Elden Beast. And new to this boss fight, Torrent. Because, yeah, we're going. But, yeah, Elden Beast, you know. I'm trying to figure out where to begin because I'm also trying to focus because, you know, I don't want to have to fight Radagon again, but I could. I highly doubt Crimson Rot will help. It's so much cooler riding Torrent than just dodging randomly. Whoa! Uh-oh. I gotta get out of here. That did a lot of damage, but I got cocky. Whoa. Where'd it go? Lost track of it. Oops. Okay. Maybe this will get me through. Whoop. Okay. Shoot. Oh no. God damn, so close. Okay, I used too many healing items against Radagon, otherwise I would have been more brave. Okay, Elden Beast. Sorry, this is okay. Elden Beast, it's kind of, well, it's tough, but okay. So back to back with Radigan, and I actually kind of like the Elden Beast fight, and before you could not use Torrent, and so it was a lot more difficult running around chasing after him, but I found it such a mesmerizing fight. I was way into it, but it's so much better with Torrent, because, you know, you can chase after him and move around certain things easier, but yeah, I didn't realize how hated that fight was until after I finished the game, or, you know, until... You know, I was like partway through my second playthrough, and it just sort of like I looked into it, and it's just like, oh, Elden Beast sucks. It's just like, oh, really? People really had a hard time with it. And I was an all melee build, so, you know, running up to him was a pain. But, again, it's such a cool, scenic, mesmerizing fight. I was just like way into what I was doing. Forgot about that. Shoot. Problem is, Radigan does hit hard. Shoot. God damn it. Sorry. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. Back to the Elden Beast fight. Shoot. Uh-oh. Whoa, okay, that was close. I'm like, that's gonna kill me if... God damn it. Shoot. So I gotta pick a time and a place for that. Ah, shoot. God damn it. Timing. Maybe another thing of... Okay. We're getting there. It just... Yeah. Again, the Elden Beast... let's see. I'm trying to remember. It didn't actually take me that long, although I was using my Spirit Ashes. So, you know, fair. But, no. Flasks. No, not add charge. one more. I didn't think we'd be able to use that much magic against it. I doubt Scarlet Rot's even going to work, so I don't even want to try it. Actually, what do I have in the physic? I mean, dodge bonus, which... and stagger, I think. Maximum HP boost. That doesn't matter much. Let's do... do a little bit more damage? I don't know. Okay, sorry. We're getting there. We're getting there. Like I said, this could be pretty short. I don't think this is going to take too long. I think we're going to beat them both in less than an hour, but, you know. Just the right thing's got to work in our favor. Actually, man, I should put on Radahn's armor. Damn it, every time. I'm dead. Sorry, got a little... got a little hasty there. So we're gonna get this. Last rune arc. Maybe it'll take us through. Maybe it'll carry us. Time. I did it again. Sorry. Shoot. You gotta remember, don't run straight back from it. Shoot. Gotcha. Okay, we're sitting okay. So now the Elden Beast. Okay, so Torrent isn't good for dodging its big gold slashes, but there's other stuff I can do. Oh, come on. God damn it. Shoot! I just realized I forgot to unequip the golden braid, which I don't think is helping us here. right into that. I thought it was going to be something else. Damn. Shoot. Oh, shoot. No, come on. Get out of the radius. Okay, that was close. Even you have to die, God. Destined death for the Golden Order. Elden Remembrance. I was gonna say, it's a god, so we get the same amount of souls as if we beat Radahn. Okay, just looking. All right. I'm debating on what to put on. I was just like... I should have wore Radahn's gear, but we're going to keep helmet off. Oops. Well, you know, still scarred by... Actually, maybe... Scarred like when we did the Flame of Frenzy. Summon Ranni, or Touch Fractured Marika, which you basically put Marika back together, and then depending on what runes you got, do you choose after you do it? I don't know, because I went with Ranni's ending, and as tempted as I am to go with Godwyn's ending this time, since I got the rune, we're going to do what my girl wants. Probably didn't have to strip down. I should have looked stoic here, but it's just like, my burn body, I am no longer the Lord of Frenzied Flame. I have suppressed that, and so we have a new path of the moon. You didn't have to strip down. You could have. It would have looked real cool and fitting if instead you wore Radahn's armor, so I'm regretting it now, but I want my scars to be shown. Accumulated a lot of them on the way here. Nice going, Ma. This whole thing worked out great.
I do solemnly swear to every living being and every living soul. Now cometh the age of the stars. 1,000-year voyage under the wisdom of the moon. Here beginneth the chill night that encompasses all. reaching the great beyond. Into fear, doubt, and loneliness. As the path stretcheth into darkness. Well then, shall we?
Which hand?
My fair consort eternal.
Would have been fitting if I put Radahn's armor on. Oh well. Okay. But with that, yeah, Elden Ring. The Age of the Stars, which that is like, that's the trophy, and that's the most common trophy people have gotten finishing up the game. Begin Journey 2 if you do not wish to start. No, we don't need to do New Game Plus. Right, I forgot we could back out of it. Alright, because I want to check out the remembrance of the... We did it! Hold on. Let's look at the remembrance of the Elden... Say any new, probably nothing. Okay. Remembrance of the Elden Beast, hewn into the Erd Tree. It was the vassal beast of the greater will and living incarnation of the concept of order. So, yeah. If I got it right, you know, the fingers, you know, is like what Marika made the deal with in order to basically call this. And then so the Golden Lineage, the Golden Order, is this thing sent down as like part of the bargain. It's like, okay, you're what makes this work. Marika's hammer, stone hammer made in the lands of the Newman, outside of the lands between. The tool with which Queen Marika shattered the Elden Ring, and Radagon attempted to repair it. The hammer partially broke upon shattering the ring, becoming splintered with rune fragments. Goldbreaker, Lipapai, yeah, so basically what Radagon did to us. Sword wrought with the remains of sacred relic sword, yeah. Sword wrought with the remains of a god who should have lived in a life eternal. Thoughts on what the weapon portends are many and varied. Some consider it the mark of a great sin, or the sign of a great devastation. Some think it is the end of an age, while others, the beginning. Wave of gold. Can we wield this? We don't have the dex to wield it properly, damn it. Wave of gold is a really cool attack, but I can't use it. Alright, whatever. Marika's hammer seems cool, we can use that, but we don't need to break it. But, yeah, so, like, the Elden Beast, like, the, you know, the being that is the complete Elden Ring, and, you know, comes from it. So, with the, you know, the pieces that we have put back together, Marika destroyed the Elden Ring, but Radagon trying to repair it, and, you know, it didn't work out well for them.
I see. You're here.
Hugh, I killed a god. Are you happy?
No.
You don't remember anything. I'm just curious. But anyways, so... Okay, we can't go back. I was like, I wonder if we can... Yeah. I was wondering, is like, did we go back before the end of the game? Can we go back and, you know, try to go for another ending? I do that, but I guess not. Oh, well. Hold on. Where was... I'm trying to remember. This map is so foreign to me now after, everything else we've been through. I was just thinking, it's like, go find Ronnie out there. Okay, either way. But yeah, we are no longer the Lord of Frenzy Flame, because this is only the second time I've beaten the full game. But, you know, by, beating Radagon, you can choose your ending. If you don't have any of the great runes and basically don't do any of the major side content, you just like put it back together, and then it's just like, oh, it's back the way it was, just you're now in charge. Wait for it to fall apart again, basically. Like, nothing changed. You just like put back the broken pieces of the world that already failed, and, you know, putting the golden order back on top. What are the other endings? What was it? Age of the Duskborn? Is that... Well, then there's Godwin's ending with, like, the rune you make with Fia, and that brings about, like, death. No one goes back to the Erd Tree, just death is permanent, and just, like, nothing, you know, no one comes back. It is just, like, death and change are a constant. The Dung Eaters, kind of like this supplants, or, like, by taking his spores and, like, basically infecting everybody, so everyone dies in like a horrible agonizing death, and no one can go back to the Erd Tree because everyone is like stuck inside their bodies or something. It's just like a horrible nihilistic like plague of disease. That sounded redundant, but you know. What were the other one? What was it? Gold Mask, where it's like no one can... I'm trying to remember the details. Gold Mask, which is a plot line I completely missed. No one can die or something. It just like everything remains still. I think that's what it is. What was the other one? There was another one, right? It's like 6 endings. Base, Dustborn, Rot, Gold Mask, Ronnie's. What was the last one? Can't think of it. Sorry, I'm trying to think. Whose quest line? Hold on. There's so much to talk about. I don't know where to begin because, yeah, that was Elden Ring. How was it? It's phenomenal. Like, one of my all-time favorites, like, really battling it out. You know, it's just, like, this is, like, you know, the best of the Souls games, like, culminated together. There's so much going on. The massive Breath of the Wild, like, open world that just, like, makes exploration so fun and, like, the buildup of power so satisfying. Until it hits a wall, but that's a whole thing. But, you know, just like the exploration, the lore, the world building, there is so much here, and there's so much freedom because of its openness to, like, go off, like, get as strong as you want or you think you need to be, open up paths, or, you know, if you're stuck on a place, don't have to bash your head against it like in most other games or, like, grind to a point where it just stops working. Go somewhere else. Just go to an entirely different area and just see what there is to find, and get stronger naturally. Oh, sorry. It gets stronger naturally. Find a combo that works for you. Mix it up. Learn to do spells. Learn to do this or get certain equipment. And, like, I was more adventurous with this. I was just, like, Oonga Boonga, you know, in my first playthrough. I mixed it up with, like, you know, miracles and such. And that was kind of cool, and very useful in some parts, even though I fell into patterns. Like, I fell into holding patterns. The problem is, like, yeah, if you're just a melee guy, all you gotta do is hit stuff. You know, so it's like I don't have to mix it up. I just gotta hit well and time my dodges. Trying to mix in things like spells and, you know, certain abilities or special moves just like was a distraction, and that made me to like fall into, it's like, oh, you know, if you hit with Scarlet Aeonia and Scarlet Rot, that works out really great. And well, then if you use follow up with Destined Death, that hits for a lot, and, you know, do so much on that. You know, I fell into, like, holding patterns where it was just sort of like, I gotta get these both off, or, you know, Destined Death swings, you know, takes enough time where it's like, if you got the opportunity to pull it off, it does a lot of damage, so make the most of it. And I just kept falling into traps, especially with, like, the end game, or, you know, end tier bosses of the DLC, where it's just sort of like, I could not keep up with what they were doing. And that was all my fault, I realized that, but... You know, we got through it in the end. Because, again, it's all about the victory. The Spirit Ashes, I think, are great. They are genius. And just, like, there's so much fun on just, like, being able to, like, use these special little characters, like, these little minions of enemies. Like, again, collecting Pokemon. And then they all have, like, their own special bonuses or weaknesses or effects. And you just use them in boss fights. And they don't have the penalty that, you know, normal summoning does of increasing the boss health. They're just like a free thing you have access to, and it's a lot of fun. I like the customization. Although, the biggest problem with Elden Ring is its balancing. Because, like, you can always show up to something, like, over, you know, it's so free. You can go anywhere. You can go into near endgame areas pretty early on. You can go to late, or, you know, show up to early things you missed, like, late in the game. And so that does come into the balancing problem of just sort of like you either show up to something too late or too early. And so it's like something very useful or something you stumbled upon, like, oh, this is like a cool little dungeon and like a challenge I can do. And it turns out it's like, well, I'm already in like, you know, Laernia, and like I'm like 40 levels higher than this, so it's kind of a breeze. Or you stumble into Caelid and everything is like way too strong, but if you stick it out and you can find special powerful items and such like that, or find a loophole. And then it gets like to the end game bosses, like right when you're into the final stretch, like going into Lindell, where like the difficulty kind of plateaus, where it's just sort of like, oh, no matter how strong you are, it just kind of like hit a limit, and you always kind of feel a little too weak. So that makes like things like Margit, Fire Giant, you know, Malekith, Godfrey, just like some of the endgame bosses just like become like really hard, and you feel really outclassed. So there is a bit of a spike that just like, you know, spikes and then just stays there. Like, you know, it's not so much a difficulty curve as it's a difficulty heart monitor, you know? It can go up, it can go down, it can like flatten out for a while, it can spike up and then just stay there. Like, the varying difficulty is like very hard to like grasp, and it doesn't really stay consistent. But overall, I think that's a good, you know, a welcome sacrifice to like make everything so open, where you just like have all this customization. Right. You just have all this customization to, you know, try different combos, like make weapons do different things. The special weapons are really cool. The remembrances, kind of like in Sekiro, except you can like build different things out of them. You know, it's just like a more fun version of the soul weapons and boss soul weapons. And they work for certain things. You know, a lot of repeated bosses, which I do realize is like a bigger problem than I like thought it was when I first played. At the same time, for the most part, like if a boss is there, it's there for a lore reason, you know? So there's a consistency. Like there's a reason why you're fighting these gargoyles in certain spots, or why you're fighting the Starfallen beast or whatever in certain spots. Or why certain guardians and crystal guardians are in mines and such. Like there is a lore reason around, although there are some weird exceptions, like you know, golden lineage, like Godfrey or whatever it is. Like, okay, that's just another, like, not another grafted, just like another you know, Godric, and that's awkward. It's really weird. Even though he has lore to him, and it's like, he was actually a big, important guy in the fight with the dragon. He's another grafted and works and functions exactly like Godric. I think people would have less problems with it if it was just like another grafted, just like a super strong, regular grafted enemy. But there are some exceptions. There is some parts where the repetition can be a problem and like really inconsistent. Overall, I don't mind it, because again, like, you know, every time you come across one of the repetitions, it is a little different. It is like a stronger level version of that. It's using a different weapon, so its moveset is slightly different, but it's still a change. You know, there's a lot of cool stuff here, where it's just different enough as you explore that it's like still kind of cool. But rewards can also be like hit and miss depending on what you're doing. Like, if you're going all strength build, catacombs are basically useless. Or catacombs in most caves, because, you know, it's like, oh, you get like a spell or like a special staff that doesn't matter to you because you're a melee guy, you know? Or, you know, kind of inverse, where it's like if you're spell focused, like a lot of like big main dungeons don't really give you much because like they're, you know, powerful weapons and such. But it was really fun, you know, mixing up things, like trying to figure out the faith, and, you know, there's a lot of cool stuff. Sorry, I'm rambling. There's so much to say about Elden Ring, and I've kind of like shattered my jaw off, and it hurts. I have not eaten, I'm tired. But, you know, Elden Ring is such a special game that sorry, I got a cat leaning against my back, sitting on top of my chair, and she's like pushing me over. But Elden Ring is such a special game, taking all like the, you know, the better part of it, yeah, what is it? Yeah, a decade of, you know, Souls games from the Dark Souls series, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Demon Souls, and culminating into this, like, gigantic, like, you know, godlike entity of a game where it's just sort of like there's so much freedom, there's so much customization, there's so much lore that's like easier to digest than some of the other games. And, you know, and also in many ways more accessible because you have that freedom to run off and like go do other things. You can come back to, you know, progress however you want and then come back, you know, as strong as you need to be. You have more opportunities, like if you want to use items more. Crafting is such a much more viable, which I wanted to use more, but I just completely let it escape me. But I like that crafting is so accessible because it means you can like build the items you need to help you with certain bosses or something, or having like items that work well for you. Give you the status bonuses or the resistances or like, you know, just a damage bonuses. A lot of that I didn't use because I'm using special boss weapons that can't get those bonuses. But if you weren't using those, they would work pretty cool. Oh, I just thought of something. I wonder. Sorry, I just had a thought. I just wonder. Aw, I was like, can you light your fist weapons on fire? That'd be so cool. I just thought like flaming fists, that'd be sweet. Okay, anyways. But there's just so much cool customization, and the Spirit Ashes are another good thing. You know, having like helpers to either draw aggro away from you, have their own special things, and their strategy to using the, you know, Spirit Ashes. That's why it's a viable thing to use. It's just when you get to the Mimic tier, everything becomes obsolete. I remember it was Noah Caldwell Jarvis who was talking about Gervais, or I don't remember how his last name is spelled. I'm sorry, Noah. Your videos are great. But in his Elden Ring video, he talked about like, well, what could be the most useful companion? Another me. I'm already the strongest thing in this world, so if I had another me fighting, well, that would cover the bases. And that's what you can do with the you know, Mimic tier. Is that you can build him just like you. You can build him as a bruiser like I do. And having or you just as a spellcaster, you could mix it up. He could be the spellcaster and you could be the attacker or vice versa. As long as you are equipped to do these things, the Mimic Tear works for you. If the Mimic Tear is as strong as you are, and the two of you put together, it is such a cool, like, thrilling thing. And, you know, it's kind of ironic where mimics are kind of like the worst enemy, the nightmares of most Souls players. And now in, you know, in Elden Ring, the mimics are your best friends. But there's just so much cool stuff to Elden Ring that, like, I am so tired. I want to talk about more, kind of, but it's like, that's a video essay for another day. And, you know, with that, less than 74 hours, almost 75, beating Elden Ring, DLC and all. You know, I think we covered the majority of things. We covered ground. We covered a lot of ground. Hold on a second, because I wanted to pull up. Elden Ring is just kind of like a very special game, and I even recommend it as like a first-time Souls player, because it is accessible. It is. Don't listen to the, you know, the jerks and the haters and the, you know, purists and zealots. Elden Ring is such a forgiving game. Well, mostly I say such a forgiving game. They're hit and miss. But if you're willing to meet the game halfway, it'll meet you back, because that's kind of like how Souls works. It's not actually about the skill, it's about like learning the systems, and just like learning how even the numbers work can give you a huge advantage. And yeah, skill can obviously take a huge part of it, but, you know, you gotta learn how, you know, you gotta work with the game to make those things work. I'm just trying to think of more, because there's just so much to say, but I am burnt out. Sorry, I'm glad I came back to Elden Ring and got to experience it again like this. In many ways, it did feel like the first time again, with a few added bonuses that just like made it a little easier to get through. I have kind of like hit my limit, because, you know, 75 hours across like 2 months, I think it took me to do this now. But in comparison to my first playthrough, level 155, beat the game in 45 hours. And that was just like base game, and I missed a ton. But still, you know, it was a good journey. Meanwhile, level 200, almost 50 levels over what my first playthrough was, 30 hours more, partially due to like doing things I never did before, and most of that extra 30 hours being the DLC. I'll have to look back to see how long the DLC actually took me, but just so much stuff, and there's so much cool things to Elden Ring that I've been talking about all throughout, and it's just sort of like Elden Ring, again, is such a special game. And it's like, it's one of my all-time favorite games, and it's just kind of competing with Bloodborne, which I gotta replay. I want to do that next, but it's like, I need a break from Souls. But, you know, the contest I have between Elden Ring and Bloodborne is just sort of like, Elden Ring is so, like, large and expansive, it's kind of overwhelming, and, you know, while it's kind of, like, more accessible, it kind of, like, has the ebbs and flows of being, like, the easiest and the hardest Souls game all at once. Bloodborne, it's just kind of like a more, you know, it's a more straightforward adventure. Because of that linearity, it's kind of like, it's paced out well, it's a lot easier to, like, digest in some ways. It's just like, it's kind of like the pacing, because there is benefits to, like, the gigantic open world aspects and the much simpler, more linear storytelling and, you know, progression of Bloodborne. It's kind of the same debate I have with myself about, like, Breath of the Wild and Twilight Princess, my two favorite Zelda games. Because Breath of the Wild is such, like, a magical adventure of just sort of, like, the openness, the exploration, but the story kind of falters because, like, it's got to be so open that no matter what angle you come at it from, it's got to repeat itself or, like, not do too much. Meanwhile, I like, my other favorite Zelda game is Twilight Princess. Like, the world that it builds, like, the progression of the story and, like, you know, how the dungeons work is, like, very compelling, you know? Because that's where Breath of the Wild falters, is that it doesn't really have dungeons. It doesn't have good ones. Not very, you know, memorable. Whereas, like, you know, Twilight Princess, you got things like the Desert Temple and the Temple in the Sky that are so cool. But anyways, so, you know, that's kind of the debate I have with myself. It's just, like, the openness of Elden Ring is so, like, enchanting, but, you know, the straightforwardness of Bloodborne is just sort of, like, visceral and easier to get into without, like, you know, it has its spikes, but it's not as fast as Elden Ring can be. Because, yeah, the progression is kind of always going to have a problem if you make things that open, but it's kind of problems that are, like, you're willing to take because, you know, of what else it can offer, you know, because of and in spite of that openness. I'm just trying to think of more things to say. Speaking of Bloodborne, I'm not too familiar with him, but I remember seeing, what was it, Kai Cenat? Is that his name? Who, I remember, was it before Shadow of the Erdtree? Anyway, but Kai Cenat, like, big streamer, who got into Elden Ring. That was, like, his first Souls game, and it crushed him, it broke him down, but he got through it, and, like, he's hyping it up as, like, his, like, one of his favorite games now, and so he does, like, big event streams. I remember, like, he was wearing, like, full Radahn cosplay and decked out his streaming room, and now, as a recording, I think he's still, like, he's in, like, the first day, was it? Hold on. But anyways, I bring him up because right now he's doing, like, a big Bloodborne stream, like 100 hours of Bloodborne, just, like, non-stop or something, and he's got, like, his streaming area all, like, decked out in, like, hunter, and he's wearing, like, hunter gear, and it's just sort of like, you know, it's Souls games just, like, have, like, this compelling nature that, like, if you can get through the wall, they can be so, like, important to you and can do so much. Sorry, I'm trying to think. My head is just, like, swimming. It's just, like, now that the game's over, it's like, what do I talk about? Like, my head is actually, I have a headache, because I want to talk about, like, the awesome lore and everything, and, you know, like, the, you know, cultural impact of Souls, and my head hurts. It hurts so much. But, you know, I'm just like, where to begin and where to end. But I suppose, like, let's end with the ending I chose, because I'm still convinced by Ranni's ending, because with what we learned, you know, me also paying more attention, learning about the Golden Order is, like, it was flawed from the beginning, and the DLC even enforces that, where it's just like Marika, like, gave her all to this order, just trying to do something to, like, take her life back, and it eventually fell apart. And because of that, it's just like, this order has to end, and hopefully the Tarnished can come back and maybe make something better. But she got strung up. A god still weak to, like, the whims of the universe. But the Golden Order, you know, the things beyond the stars, you know, just, like, this corrupting nature, and, like, what Ranni saw is that, like, the Golden Order is not the right way. The two fingers are not what we need to follow. We need something else. There's something beyond them, beyond in the stars, that we can maybe tap into, and we can open up just something, like, open up the darkness, open up the void, and embrace it. And maybe with that, we will find something, like, truly great and become fuller by embracing that void. which is kind of like very similar to how like the Age of Darkness endings work in Dark Souls, where it's just sort of like, you know, darkness is what humanity actually is. What? You want to go out? I'm blabbing. Hold on. Just let me pet you for a little bit. But, you know, in, like, Dark Souls, like, darkness is an inherent part of what humanity is. And this thing like the Dark Sign and Gwyn, who, you know, branded humanity with the Dark Sign and, you know, made humanity lesser so he could keep his Age of Fire, which was stagnating and dying even, you know, long before he gave his will to the fire, because it was dead. You know, things have to end, things have to change. And at least with Ronnie's, there is more hope for a drastic change, maybe more drastic than the world can even handle. But whatever's out there in the dark, it's got to be, you know, maybe it's something else, better than this supposed order of light that broke down without much intervention from anything. There's more I want to say, but I better wrap this up because I could rant for a while, and I'm tired. I want to go to bed. I gotta eat. I'm gonna go to bed. But with that is Elden Ring. I'm trying to think of a better way to phrase it, but just like, nope, Elden Ring. It is such a special game that I just want more. I want everyone to play, like literally everyone, because like even if you don't get into it, it's a game, like the quintessential game of just like, you need to try it at least once to just see if something taps into you, if something about it like reaches out to you and grabs you. And if it does, it can be something that's like very special. And if it doesn't, you can say you tried, and that's all you need to do. Okay, I better wrap this up because the dog wants to go out and I'm very tired. But with that, that is the end. That is the end. So, with that all being said, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe and all that. This is Timmara signing off. And thank you for watching me play Elden Ring.